Today, I want to talk about the three people who are inside everybody who wants to go into business. Person number one is the entrepreneur. Yes, you might say, I'm an entrepreneur and I want to go into business. But one of the three people inside of you is the entrepreneur. The other is the manager. And the third one is the technician. Those are the three main personalities of people who are going into business and who hope to succeed. Why is it relevant? Why is it even important? It's important for you to know where your strength as an individual lies so that you can work with your strength and let somebody else do what you cannot. So when you come up with your idea, you solve your problem, you identify a problem, and you can find a solution, or you have found a solution to the problem, like I said in previous videos. And you have you've clearly identified how you're going to monetize your solution so that it supports you with a salary or with your company with a profit. The next thing that you need to do is to ask yourself, where exactly do I fit in best? Is it in entrepreneurship, or is it in management, or is it in the technical aspect of things? And all of those are inside of you who calls yourself an entrepreneur. You, the business person, you, the risk taker. An entrepreneur, you can say, is somebody who's constantly in this, for the sake of this discussion, is somebody who is constantly looking to expand his territory, who's looking for a new product to look into. He's the creative side of a business. He's the one who's willing to take the risk. The manager in him says, in as much as you're taking the risk, let's slow down and organize everything. Let's organize the accounting, let's organize the filing, let's get an office, let's do all of those things. That is the manager in you. And then thirdly is the technician. That's the guy who gets the things done. You know, he's the spanner boy, he's a screwdriver guy. He wants to do things and he wants them done and done. Normally what happens is the entrepreneur in you goes and identifies a problem and does all those other things up to the point of monetizing and maybe even coming up with a business plan, which is very important. At that point, the entrepreneur is kicked out by the technician. He's told, now you have identified a market here. The market is, say, for example, making screwdrivers, and we need to make 1 million of them. So the technician will come and say, let's make the screwdrivers. Let's make sure that they are out there, or they are made. The manager is the one the manager in you is now the one who should take over and say, in as much as we need to make 1 million screwdrivers, we need to understand certain things. Number one, where is the money going to come from? How is it going to get paid? When you sell, how long will it take before you get paid? Do we have the systems to support that, etc., etc.? So you need to know which one of those is your strength. The people who succeed the most are the people who are able to balance all these three guys inside of you, so that in as much as you want to go in leaps and bounds as an entrepreneur from project to one project to the next, from one idea to the next, you are actually also managing the current, and you're also making sure that you meet the demand that you have out there for the product that for the product that you are giving to the people whose problem you have identified. You are selling your solution for a profit, and you're organizing your office as you do so, or your business as you do so. It sounds a bit abstract, but you'll find that in the end, there are those people whose strength is in management and not in imagination and creativity. There are those whose strength is in getting things done. And as a result, they want to go into a business where things are getting done. The reason that they don't make much money or more money than they are currently making is actually because their core strength is making that thing, not getting it out there, not opening up new markets, which is now the entrepreneur in you. So you need to do a balancing act and make sure that the three of them harmonize so that you can go forward and make a tremendous success of yourself. I want to talk about an entrepreneur called Doris. Doris is a very brilliant mind. She's very inquisitive and she notices things that other people do not. So Doris happened to notice that at the bottom of every door, there's a little quarter-inch or half-inch gap. And in the place where Doris used to live, it was very windy. So a lot of wind used to come in at night with a lot of dust. And it would deposit a lot of dust through in the house through the bottom of the door. There was no other gap on the door except for that one. And so Doris thought to herself, what should I do she saw an opportunity. Now that was the entrepreneur in Doris. She saw an opportunity and she began to think about how to solve that. She saw a problem and she began to ask herself, how do I make money from this? How do I benefit? How do I profit? Can I build a business on this? And she came to the conclusion that yes, indeed, I can. And so she decided she's going to look for a solution, and she found a solution. The solution at first was very awkward. It was putting a towel, a wet towel at the bottom. It would prevent cockroaches, rats, and dust from entering through there. But she couldn't sell that. She could not market it. So she packaged it into something that you can wet once every day and then wash it in the evening. But people didn't like it because in the morning when you woke up to remove it, it meant that you start having chores which you had not planned for. It's already hard enough as it is life is already full of enough chores. So she decided, well, let me look at something else. Now she came up with a very interesting material that you can slide under the door, and it blocks off everything. It's rat proof. It doesn't get dirty easily, and as the door moves, it also sweeps the ground. So she was able to keep out cockroaches, water that came in with the rain that comes sideways, and she was also able to keep out dirt. And today Doris is very happy because she managed to get everything of hers together. She got somebody to manufacture that thing. I don't know what it's called, but it slides under the door, and when you move the door back and forth, it sits flat on the ground. And so she got somebody to make it so that as it moves, it does that job. So she's a manufacturer. She put in a nice computer software that knows how many pieces have been manufactured, delivered, distributed, paid for, etc. And she keeps attention to her books, to the quality. Regarding the quality, she had a contract. With her books, she looks at it herself, but she also has an accountant. And because she's very creative and very all over the place, she's already looking at her second and third idea. But because of her nature as an inquisitive, talkative kind of human and very intelligent, she is able to talk to people and convince them that you should buy this. And as a result, she has become her own greatest salesperson. However, recently, Doris decided to employ somebody to do what she does. So she went and got, as it were, a carbon copy of herself out in the market, and she's paying the individual some money to push that product in the market. So she saw where her strength lay. It was in entrepreneurship. So she was able to employ people to do the other things. So Doris, one of the questions that Doris asked herself is, exactly who should I employ? Doris sat with herself. You know that meeting of the three of you, me, myself, and I. She did that one. And she asked herself what her greatest strength is. She asked her conscious mind, what is my greatest strength? And she was very brutal with herself. And she discovered that she's actually an entrepreneur. She has more of the entrepreneurial spirit in her than management or technical. And so she decided that the other person who's going to come is somebody who's got to fulfill the following role. And she looked for somebody who's going to do mostly bookkeeping and a bit of marketing and sales and nice talk. That became the manager. The technical person was actually a company that manufactures those kind of things. So she just gave that work to the company. That was her other person, the one who makes the technical part, because she would give an order, 2 days later it will be delivered to the manager in her and to her manager. And then she would go out there and talk to people. But when she felt that now my time here is over, my energy is I'm not growing as it were, she went and got somebody. She interviewed about 5 or 6 people, and she finally got somebody who is better than her at what she does, marketing, because she wanted somebody who's really out there selling these things, moving them, placing them in the shops and so on. And all of that data, she needed it in books, kept very well. She wanted her tax paid, she wanted her staff paid, so she had to go and look for somebody who's going to do that. And so she got a technical guy, a marketing guy, who she told, go and get everybody to know this and sell them. I just want money at the end of the day. And that individual went and did exactly that and much more. Because this individual also came back with other ideas. People are saying that it is sliding out. Some people have very large gaps under the door. Some of them don't like the colors. And what you do is she take these things. She had never noticed those things. She never heard it because she was not good at getting feedback from the customers. Her business was, let me push this into the market. So this salesperson came and started saying, oh, different colors, oh, different sizes, etc., etc. And she was forced to go back, not forced. She now went back to the manufacturer and told them, yeah, we need some that are thicker, some that are thinner, and so on and so forth. So it became a possibility for her that she had not really considered. So her business is growing, even as she's thinking about the next one. But it's growing only because people are asking for more and more and more of the same. So when you're looking for somebody, look for somebody always try to look for somebody who's better than you. And they're there. Kenya has very well educated, very honest and hardworking people. You'll easily get one. But take your time and get the right person. And when you can't do it for yourself, get a team who you can instruct on exactly what it is that you want. 2 or 3 interviewers. Pay them a little money as a sitting allowance, and then let them interview the prospective employees, and they'll come up with the best based on what you tell them. So you have to understand exactly who you are, and what you want for yourself, so that you can grow your business to the next level. You want to ask yourself a solid question. This is difficult, and it's very sensitive. What if I get somebody who's better than me and they look like they're going to steal my business? There's every possibility they will. But don't forget that the idea is yours. There are things in the business they will never know, because those are your business secrets. And then be very clear about what it is that you want them to do. Don't tell them to do everything. You'll have fired yourself from your own business. Tell them that you're in sales, yes. You'll find you will be delivering this number of units of this product to you. Go and sell it in that town or in that region, so that they are busy doing exactly what you want and a little more. The reason that you should get somebody who's better than you is actually twofold. Number one, you're not the best. You might be the most creative according to you right now, but there's a whole bunch of people out there who are more creative than you. If you happen to get, say for example, a marketer who's better than you, let the marketer do what they can do to the best of their ability. The time will come for them to leave. Even if they leave with your idea, it's okay. There's no harm. They will have lifted you and boosted you up to the extent that they have. And when they go, they'll come across the same problem that you have. The fact that they have stolen your idea or run away with it doesn't mean that they're going to go and do well. They haven't listened to this talk. And as a result, they think that because they are good at selling, they're also good at management and at manufacture. Only for them to go and try and start and crash. And that, by the way, is one of the reasons why very many copycat businesses crash. Because they don't really know what it is that they are doing. They just see that you're making a lot of money, as it were, through them. But then there's a process that happened that has gone on in the back, what do they call it? In the back office, that has led you to have them in the front office. And so the only thing that they'll be seeing is the results. They don't know how much documentation and processes and so on has happened in the back office, so that they can actually even have that product to sell from the front office. So don't be scared that people are going to come and, they're going to come and run away with my idea and so on. You must never be insecure as a business person. Your current idea is not the only idea. Your current idea is one of many. What you need to do is to interact with your idea so that the idea will be able to expand, and as it expands, note down on pen and paper everything that the idea, the business is telling you, because businesses speak to you. A business will tell you clearly it needs to go left and to go right. The business will also tell you very clearly we need to go up or down. We need to grow, we need to disinvest, we need to invest. So if you are keen at looking at knowing, understanding your business, the business will tell you when it should close. Very many people are sitting on businesses that should have closed many years ago or a while back because of emotional connections, because of fear, because they don't know what else to do. But if they sit and ask themselves, that meeting of the three of you, the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician, me, myself, and I, so to speak, that meeting is very important so that you can discover where exactly you are strong and why your business isn't growing in leaps and bounds. Sometimes it's factors outside of you, sometimes it's personality problems. Once you've understood your personality, you're good, you're home and dry. Otherwise, you'll do well, but not to the best of your ability. So now you've employed this guy, you've employed this young lady, or let me say you've employed the most suitable candidate. Now let's enter into the shoes of the employee. So they come and they work really well, they work really hard, and they look like they're really doing well, for themselves. They're going home with their salary every month, and they're helping your business to grow. And this employee decides now, it's at the point where I think I can start off on my own. What should I look for? Lo and behold, you've landed yourself in exactly the same hole or the same cloud as the person who has employed you. You will still have to identify a problem. You will still need to look for a solution to that problem. You will still need to do your business plan, your SWOT analysis, your pestle analysis. You will still need to do all of those things that your current employer did so that you can get to where you are now employed and finding that you are being paid a salary. However, many of you, like myself, we went into employment. A short while later, all you wanted was out. I quit without knowing what it is that I'm going to do. Well, that's my nature. As an entrepreneur, I have that in me, and in future I'll talk to you about the very many businesses I have tried. Some have done very well, some have fallen flat on their faces, some I don't even want to talk about, but I'll talk about all the same because it's now my history, my experience. So you'll find that one of the things that people worry about is they have fear. How am I going to do it? Where am I going to get the capital? How am I going to make sure that I'll make it out there? Who's going to work? Who's going to agree with me? And how do I even know that this thing is going to sell? Say, for example, it's something that we want to sell. At that point, what normally happens is people go into a rut. They put themselves into a trough of copying a business that is already happening, but trying to make a small difference. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes, most of the time it doesn't. You just end up being exactly like the next person. And that's how come you'll find this on a street in Nairobi, or Nyeri, or Eldoret. There's a street that is full of people who are selling, all of them are selling the same thing. Carrots, cabbages, parsley, tomatoes, oranges, market produce. Everybody is selling the same. Why would somebody pick on you? Well, if you go to the class, they'll tell you you need to have good customer relations and so on and so forth. But what about the idea itself? Is that really the best that you can do? Let's start there. So you have to have an idea. You have to be able to solve a problem. When you're there selling your vegetables to them, like the other 200 people, I don't think you're solving a problem. What you're doing is just trying to survive. And you must get out of that survival mentality so that you can become wealthy. Now, the survival mentality is not the wealth mentality. Those are two different animals. And you need to get yourself out of the survival mode so that you can succeed. We'll talk about that at a future date, about the survival mentality and the wealth mentality. Those are two different things. The poverty mentality, I think I've talked about it briefly in a previous video. You can go back and see. But it's not a good thing. So you need to get yourself from the poverty mentality to the survival to the wealth generating mentality. And one of the things that you need to lose is fear. I understand it's understandable that not everybody is able to lose that thing of fear. In fact, fear is actually a good thing. It keeps you it makes you careful. But when it overrides everything else, then it's not a good thing at all. So my appeal would be that you lose the first bad barrier, and it's called fear. Ignorance is another, where you do not know about the thing that you want to do. So you need to do some research and find out what it is that you want to, as much as possible, about the thing that you want to do. So as an employee who's seeking to exit, you need to be very clear in your mind about so many things, one of which is the problem that you're going to solve out there, and the second is how you're going to run the business better than where you are. So while you are there, learn from your bosses, from your employees' problems and challenges, and then go out there and do better. Let's look at practical examples. I want to talk about somebody who does smokies. I want to talk about a lady who was employed as a house girl. And I know that the person who told me this story is listening, is going to watch this, so don't worry about it. Allow me to use that example. So my friend had employed a lady as a house help. They are called house managers, whatever it is. That lady who you have in your house who cleans the house and keeps and does all of that. She was looking after the children and she was doing an exceptionally good job. The husband and the wife who had employed her thought to themselves, this lady is actually very hardworking. Why don't we give her, tell her to bring her husband so that we can talk to him give him money so that between the two of them, they can have two income streams. Hers as a house girl, because they did not want to lose her, and the man in a business. And so she went and told the husband, go and tell them that you want to do smokies. You want to sell smokies on the streets. So the man came and told this couple, I want to do smokies. What the woman had done is that she had given the husband her vision. So the man went and started doing, when he was given the money, he said, actually, let my wife do it, let me come and do what she was doing. Because they used to live in the same compound. So he became the houseboy. And she went to sell smokies. After 1 week of selling smokies, because she was given that smoky, that cart, and 2 packets of sausages, and yeah, that time it was just smoky sausages in a cart. The boiled eggs and so on came much later. So she went and set up somewhere very strategic. And she told her husband, before you leave that place, because I know you cannot be a houseboy for very long, make sure that they are going to desire either you or me to be the houseboy or the house girl. Let's not let these people down. They have gotten us from the valley into the mountaintop. Let me go and sell these things. On the first day, I remember, she as I was being told, she had been given 2 packets of sausages. You know, those big 48 or 60, or I don't know how many sausages they are. And she sold 4 of them. She sold the same quantity 4 times over. So she did that for a week, until at the end of the week, she said, I'd like to also request that I get a second smoky cart, and my husband sells with me. So they ended up selling the 2 of them. And because she was very good with people, talking to people and getting your attention and convincing you that the smoky is exactly what you need just before you enter the matatu, she went and set up at a matatu stage somewhere in Nairobi, and she helped her husband to go to the better location, because the better location already had people. So when the other people saw that it's a man, they couldn't bully him. And so later they exchanged places, but she knew what she was doing. She was a very, very forward-looking woman. So she was the entrepreneur and the manager and the technocrat and the technology person, because she would cook the smokies, she would make sure that the books are well kept, and she would also make sure that that is the manager, and then she would also make sure that she's scouting for more spaces. Within about 3 months, she had about 16 of those things that she had given to every relative who did not have a job. And eventually she started going to other towns and so on and so forth. So I'd like to say that even when you have a very humble beginning, as long as you can get a small lift, like these loans that the government is giving, but you have a very smart idea and the ability to do it, in my opinion, you should just go ahead and do it. Just burn the bridge and move on and into the new country and see what it brings. Once your bridges are burnt, you'll think differently. But as long as there's a bridge which you can always look at and say, hey, if things go bad, I'll go back over there, you'll never get anywhere. So you burn your bridges and move on. That's my thinking. Not everybody will agree with me. There's a whole bunch of people who are, let me start it this way. Over there in your village, there's a place where along the road, there's a number of shops, and then the road continues. I know you know that. You know a place like that. And some of those shops were built in 1952 by those people who are very forward-looking and very hardworking. Now, it so happens that the same shops are still there to date. The tenant may change, but the shops are still the same. I don't want to talk about those. I want to talk about the guys who are running their businesses from time immemorial to date. Nothing ever changes. You can rely on them for cooking fat and kerosene oil and for your lamps and the basic things, salt, sugar, and tea leaves. So that's what they stock. And all of their stock is covered in dust. See all those guys? Those are the guys I want to talk about. How do they change? How do they move forward? How can that guy become a supermarket from having a shop? 2, 1, you can decide to change. But the more likely one is something physical, something outside of you will come and force you to change. Maybe a road has come and they've told you have to now move. We want to widen the road, and here is your 1.5 million shillings for that space that we're going to take up and go. Now you're left with a bit of your shop, a bit of your land, about the size of a cupboard. And you ask yourself, is this what I'm going to do? And nah, you decide no, it's not. Now that, consider it a blessing, not a curse, because you have been given capital for your next business. The thing is, are you mentally prepared for the next business? Or will you be seeing things from the same perspective forever, always sticking to the same place, the same point, and complaining? Or will you agree to move on because life has moved on? Will you agree to move on because life has forced you to move on? You need to ask yourself that question and agree with life. Because you need, in as much as you need to carry out your passion, you also need to chase the possibilities, to identify them and to go after them. People call it profit chasing. But to me, it's just exploiting the opportunities. So you need to do that. So if you are one of those who are stuck in a time warp, you cannot get out of selling majani chai and sugar and solid cooking fat because 10 families count on you, and as a result you feel that you can't. Do you know that today if you closed, somebody else will do exactly the same thing, probably even better than you? So what you need to do is to just accept to move on. In any case, consider a tree. A tree starts as a seed that needs to crack and then sprout another, and then grow and get more seeds that will be eaten by birds and distributed to the far countries. You can't be the seed that stays in the ground forever. You will need to grow, and you'll need to send yourself out there in the stomach of a bird and go to the next place. Consider changing, consider improving, or life will move you. Our friends down the road called Kenya Revenue Authority will come and tell you, you've been in this business for more than 10 years, pay us 2 million. Usually what happens when they do that is you look for a place to dig your grave and you start telling your people, you know, this is where I want to be buried because there are people who are after my life. You should have moved a long time back so that when they ask you for your 1.5 million, you will tell them, let's come up with a payment plan, or here it is, or you reject it based on XYZ. So you need to move on. A road will come, some development will come, a big mall will need to be built there. Don't refuse, don't just agree to take what it is that it takes and step out and move forward, move forth.